Chapter 4. Chantal stared unblinking at the message. Her boyfriend Jared Bartley had finally sent her a reply. Instead of answering any of her previous questions, he texted that he was busy at work. He was working a double shift, but that he'd call her once he was finished. That's the same message he'd sent her yesterday and the day before that. Why was he avoiding her? Something was wrong. Very wrong. But until she figured out what it was, she couldn't fix it. She'd spent most of her life thus far fixing things that were broken, undone, or that just needed some TLC. Being the eldest of 5 siblings, fixing things when her mom was at work was a daily happening. Unable to cope with the pressures and responsibilities of fatherhood, her dad had run off when her youngest sibling Chris was 6 months old. Chantal had been 13 at the time. Almost 4 years had passed since then. Her mother had asked her to help out to take care of her brothers and sisters when Chantal didn't have school and her mom was busy at work. She had agreed wholeheartedly, wanting her siblings to always feel loved and wanted. Whatever their selfish father had done abandoning them wasn't any of their faults. Out of nowhere, the sound of a bell ringing deflected her attention from her thoughts. Students began to stand and exit the classroom. It looked like class had already ended. She'd been too immersed in her woes that she hadn't even noticed when class had begun. She turned to Tristan and asked, "What did I miss?" He jerked his head back, frowning. "What do you mean, what did you miss? You were in class with me this entire time." She huffed, rolling her eyes. "I wasn't paying attention." Tristan shrugged. "Well, you didn't miss much. Mr. Talbot talked about the Great Wall of China. If you read Chapter 10 in the textbook, it pretty much sums up today's lecture." His chocolate eyes lit up as he raised a halting finger. "Wait a second. Something else happened that you'd be fascinated to hear." "What?" she asked. He drifted his gaze over to the back of the classroom. He smiled wryly. Mr. Talbot introduced the new student. It was funny to see Brad. Anton wasn't too thrilled on being put on the spot like that. Chantal peered behind her, scrutinizing the cute, lean guy with blue highlights in his wavy jet-black hair. He had piercing green eyes. He locked gazes with her that instant, as if he sensed she was staring at him. He smiled and waved awkwardly. She didn't respond. Instead, she turned to look at Tristan and asked, "Why is he fascinating?"
He sighed.
"Well, apparently, Brad's dad bought the True River Inn. They are renovating it. As you know from the research you did on Annabelle Lecroix, she died on the inn's premises, having been burned alive for supposedly practicing witchcraft." Her jaw dropped. "His father bought the inn?" "Uh-huh." He smirked. "I see that piqued your interests." "How could it not?" she commented. Rumor had it Annabelle Lecroix had been haunting the inn for over a century. Chantal had wanted to film an episode of the haunted spectrum at the inn for months, but had never gotten permission to do so from the previous owner, who had kept their identity a secret and used an estate lawyer and agent as their contact. They had rejected her request not once, but twice. Now that it was sold, maybe she'd have better luck dealing with the son's owner. Filming an episode in the spooky inn would certainly boost their viewership and sponsorship. She should go up to Brad Anton and introduce herself. But that could wait until next class. She had more pressing things to deal with at the present, like storming over to the pub Jared worked at and demand he come clean with her why he'd been avoiding her all week long. She grabbed her purse and books, then marched out of there on her mission.
Chapter 5. Brad's spirits deflated when he stepped into the inn, late that afternoon. Everything around him felt foreign. This was not his home. The smell of fresh paint assaulted his nose. He could hear the sound of a roller moving along a wall. "Dad, you here?" he asked, letting his powerful voice travel through the rooms. "Yeah, I'm in the kitchen area," his father shouted back. Brad tossed his tote bag and jean jacket on the floor next to the entrance door and waltzed to the kitchen. 2 gas stoves and a giant wall-to-wall freezer and fridge were the only appliances in the room. They'd been part of the purchase, according to his dad. His father had the sleeves of his white paint-stained sweatshirt rolled up. Light blue splotches were scattered on the plastic drop cloth under his shoes. He quickly glanced at Brad before resuming his rolling motion. "So how did your first day at school go? Do you like it?" Brad answered evasively, tilting his head. "It was all right. His day had been going well up until Miss Chantal Lecroix snubbed him and embarrassed him in front of Max. When Max noticed it, he burst out in laughter. Brad didn't know what had irked him more, Chantal's snobby dismissal at his salutation, or Max's mockery. He'd decided he'd sit in the front of the class the next time, far from Chantal and Max, and completely ignore them. It was only fair. They both deserved it. Oh, it was that bad? His father looked at him with sad eyes. Brad cleared his throat, brushing away his emotions. It's okay. I'm just not used to the way people act in this small town. It'll take me a while to adapt. His father rested the roller in the tray and turned to face him while he dried his hands on a rag. You don't have to, you know. You can always move back in with your mom. She called me today asking about you. She said she misses you. Brad's heart wrenched. He missed her too. But then he remembered that everything had changed when Arnold came into the picture. The past was gone. Things would never be the same. Looking out the back window, he said, I'll call her later to talk. But Dad, I want to live here with you. You're sure? Is Arnold the reason for this decision? Do you want me to talk to your mom about him? Hell no. Brad responded in a loud, curt tone. Please stay out of this, Dad. His father raised his hands in support. All right, I'll stay out of it. But just know I'm here if you ever need to talk. Okay, thanks. Brad smiled, then pointed to the fridge. Did you go get groceries today? His father sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. No, not yet. I plan on going in a few hours. But in the meantime, do you mind going to the pub 2 streets down and picking up some burgers and fries for us? He took out his wallet from his back pocket and tossed it to Brad. Grab $40 from this to cover it. Sure. What type of burger do I get you? The biggest and meatiest they make. I'm starving. His dad grinned. Maybe you'll want the same? Brad laughed. Hell yes. He spun on his heel and headed off while his stomach growled in anticipation. He wanted to make this quick for 2 reasons. The first one was obviously his hunger, but he also couldn't risk his dad calling his mom to discuss the Arnold situation while he was gone. All that would achieve would be more headaches, arguments, and bad blood all around. Some things couldn't be fixed.